A very good friend suggested that I write about my IVF experience. At that moment, I was not sure whether I'm able to express myself by doing that. I think it will be a book, but really, there's something in me that I don't want to talk about it at that time. It was quite challenging because you can't wrap your head around the entire experience. It is mostly positive for me, and it was a ride. But now I am here. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Human Thesaurus Presents Epitome Anatomy. My name is Wish, and I talk about something, somehow, to dissect a word relevant from my life to yours. Ready for the epitome of childless? Let's go. Our keyword is childless. It is an adjective which means without children. Anywhere you look, that's the meaning. The earliest known use of the adjective childless is in the Middle English period from 1150 to 1500. The Oxford English Dictionary's earliest evidence for the word childless dates back to around 1175 in the Armulum, a 12th century sacred book. Before we explore my IVF experience, I would like to give you a background, something that led me to go towards that journey. Not just me, also my husband. But I'll try to keep him out of my narrative experience because I would like to respect his privacy. It's important to me that he's got his own call when it comes to talking about very personal things such as this. Why am I sharing my story now? It's only because I was encouraged by a lot of women who went with this with me, who supported me without any judgment. Even though some of them never really understood what I'm doing, they were there just cheering me on. You know, I think I owe it to women too. At first, I was really hesitant to tell my story because, like what I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit more positive than negative, especially for our keyword, childless. It sounds quite negative, isn't it? But it's not really that for me. So, yes, we're going to talk about the background about it. So, it's really taking me some time to gather my thoughts, because we just finished trying after 4.5 years last April. And I needed some time, not even to focus and decipher what I must feel or what I must think about not being able to have any fruitful experience from our IVF. I just can't wrap my head around where to go from there, after 4.5 years. So I'm just giving myself some grace of everything that I've done. I think ultimately I should be proud for even trying. Now that we're here, I'm going to dissect this story in parts. So let's probably start from the beginning. The question probably in a lot of people's mind is, why not have kids before 40? We started this journey at the age of 40. Yes, at 40. But even before that, I will tell you a story why. It may not have any scientific or logical explanation to it, but this was something that made sense to me at that time. I never wanted to have children to begin with. When I was growing up, we grew up with a large family, and I'm normally one of the youngest and the most petite one. And I also had younger sisters and younger cousins. I never really thought about it. I remember that sometimes my mom would go for shopping and she would leave my brother, who's 17 years younger than me, and my niece who's 18 years younger than me. I babysit them. But when my mom comes back after 2 hours, 3 hours, she would come back home to a chaos because I'm already fighting with my what? With my young with young toddlers. And my mom would say, "Oh my gosh, I don't think you're able to have children. You're also very much acting like a child." By that time I was what, 18 to 21. And I was like, "Damn straight, I won't." So it's just really something that I never really thought about. Also coming from my sister's experiences having earlier pregnancies for them. I was like, hell no, I don't want that. I'm very ambitious and I wanted to prove a lot of things to myself. So I focused on life. I focused on learning, pushing the limits about myself. And I don't want to bring any more children into it. And my decision was justified because our mom passed away when I was 27 and my brother was 10. Even though we have sisters, I took him under my wing, even my father. So from there on, or even before that, I'm always watching after my brother. And since he's so much younger than me, it's easier for me not to even think of having kids in the future. From then on, I was just focused on my brother, and that's more than enough for me. And I never really thought about it. In my mind, it wasn't a big deal whether I'm going to create a family or not. I just wanted to contribute to the society the way I know how, which was in innovations. And that was my purpose at that time. And then came when I was 38. This is the funny thing. Maybe it's funny now. I don't know. Nobody can ever convince me. A lot of people are trying to convince me. There's this one beautiful wisdom from a young mom telling me that whatever you're waiting for would not happen because no matter how much you prepare to have a child, you wouldn't know until the child is there. I was like, whoa. And she's right. So I still remember that. That was around, let's say, 25 years ago when someone said that to me. A lot of people are trying to convince me having children. It's like they are trying to justify it to me, and I don't understand why they need to justify it to me. I enjoy children, and I'm able to give them back. And they're like, oh, it's better if it's yours. You wouldn't even know that kind of love. Yes, I would understand that they probably would never have that kind of love until I remember that I traveled back to Manila. I was in a cab. And then the cab driver was talking to me. Hey, are you? Where did you come from? Why did you get home? And do you have children? And I said, no, we don't have children. I only have a partner who's been with me for a long time. He's like, why not? It's the best thing that has ever happened to me. And I was like, okay, good for you. And when people talk about this with good intentions, I'm not the type that will roll my eyes or make a negative feeling towards them. It's not like I respect that. It's just that I understand that facet of life for them is something positive and they're trying to influence me for it. But at the end of the day, they're not feeding me. So it's okay. I will indulge them to tell me about their life experiences too. Like what I'm doing right now, right? So it's just wonderful to learn from other people about their passion, etc. So this cab driver is nothing different. So he was telling me about adopting a child from his niece. And he said it's the most amazing thing he's ever done in his life. And he kept on going on and on about how wonderful it was for him to become a father for the second time. And he said, I don't even have much. I'm driving. I'm only a taxi driver, but it's so worthwhile for me to take care of that child. And you're so young, probably should do it too because it's one of the best gifts you will ever have in your life. And I was like, wow, okay, that's amazing. Like I gave him a tip because he's a wonderful dad. And I told him, you sound like a wonderful dad and that's phenomenal. I'm so happy for you. And please, good luck. And I hope that child knows how much that child is loved. So I left it at that. But that conversation is just like every other conversation I've ever had with other friends who's convincing me to have children. But this one affected me differently. It lingered on me for days and days and days. I was like, what the hell happened to me? And then it bugged me for a long time. I went back to Sydney. I lived in Sydney at that time, and it was just bothering me. It's like, why can't I have that kind of experience? That different happiness of having a child, whatever that may be, whatever that definition may be. This person, this cab driver affected me when everybody else is saying the same thing to me. I don't know. And then all of a sudden, I spoke with my now husband and told him about that experience. And in the end, I told him I want us to try. And he was shocked because at that time, he was also thinking, maybe it's the right time for us. And that was the beginning of this journey. He was surprised that I changed my mind. I was surprised too. But I think I've gone through life, I've gone through hell and back to know that any of the things that we would say never for, sometimes we just change our minds. And it's okay. It's okay to have a goal and then you change your mind. That's life. So it was just a wonder for me how I changed my mind with just encountering one person who may have said something like what everybody is saying, but ever so lovingly and pure. And maybe he's an angel if you believe in those celestial beings. So yes, that's how everything got started. After that, after 10 and a half years of being together, we got married too, because we would like, for us, this is the only conservative thing in our relationship between me and my husband, to have a child inside a marriage. And because we do respect the loving ways of our parents, so this is our tribute for them. Hence, we got married after 10 and a half years. And then pandemic came, so we have to hold up a little bit. And we started our journey when I turned 40, when things are okay for me to start doing medicals, etc., and having counseling, etc., which I'm going to talk about on my next episode. So I'll end this one here. There are way more things to share with you about this journey. So far, what's your view when you hear the word childless? I think it's a little bit demonized and it seems like it's a negative word. But when you experience or when you are living being childless, it's a completely different meaning. It's nothing demeaning. It's just a word. It's just a definition of something, like everything else. I'll end it here. Until next time, ciao. Human Thesaurus podcast is produced by me and my brother, Jeremiah Ronquillo. All rights reserved via Wish Media.